Hello, lovely beings. And we are live now on YouTube. And I will put it on my phone so we can see. If you have any questions, then you can see it. And then I also here going live. Everybody's welcome. Very welcome to join. If you have any questions, let us know. And we're gonna have today, we have another real talk, and we are here, like the diehards are here, guys. I'm here together with Guillaume, and today we're going to be talking about healing. And there's so many ways and so many forms of healing, so we're going to talk about all of them. Yeah, the ones that we know, at least. There's so many more ways and things that people find. So
different methods of healing.
Yeah, there's so many things. So yeah, so we'll just go into it. Like I have welcome again, Guillaume, also here.
Thank you.
And I'll just go into some of them. When we think of healing, like one of the biggest healings that is there is time. Like time, like that heals. Like if you have like something happening and it's really heavy in the moment, it's also you see that it gets less and less heavier, and time really heals. But it's also really important to process it, because a lot of people, when you just go, something happened, you have an event in your life, it's really important to really go into it, to really feel what you need to feel. But not everybody can do that. Like some people like just go on with an everyday life, and then later on something happens and then they need to do something about it. And because otherwise, a lot of times when there's emotional things happening or like a big event, like they later, if they don't do something with it, they get like physical problems.
Yeah, so we're talking emotional healing.
Yeah. So it's like, I think it's also like there's so many ways of different healings, and this is like really important. That's why I want to let people know it's really important to feel everything and to process everything that is happening with you, and to feel deeply. And that's what I call like emotional intelligence, that you have, like that you can feel that in the moment and not like numb yourself, or like not like no, oh, that didn't pretend like it didn't happen, we'll just go on with life. And but it's for everybody different. And like like you can go into it, and if you have lots of grief, but then if you like all the time crying, and like if it's like there's a moment that you have like you have to see if you really have to feel it, or if you have to go on with life.
Yeah, you're touching so many different topics here that it's hard to keep track a little bit. But I think it touches something that we have discussed today. I do some volunteer work at something that's called Recovery College. So people come with all kinds of psychological problems, and they want to go around mainstream healthcare. So it's run by volunteers and by sharing each other's knowledge. And one of the things is that you just touch upon is the time and going through it. And we were talking trauma-based pains, trauma-based behaviors, things that are stuck into your mind, sometimes even subconsciously, and how to heal from that. And, one thing that everybody was kind of agreeing on is that a lot of the healing of these pains is actually found in facing the emotions that we are suppressing, because it's usually some kind of pain, or an anger or a sadness, a grief that we're trying to suppress. And it's like these emotions are like, the metaphor we used was like a ball that you try to press on the water, the deeper you press it down, the harder it wants to come up. And the moment you let go, it splashes out of the water uncontrollably. And I think that's a good metaphor for these emotions. If you have, usually, I think most of it is trauma based, which means something in the past that projects itself into the now, that triggers all these emotions. But it's usually suppressed fear, suppressed anger. And the healing, that's our topic, and then I'll quit with my story. The healing is seems to be found in facing these emotions, by facing the grief, facing the anger, and not being afraid of it and trying to suppress it, so it only pops out uncontrollably. That's where the troubles are. And I think what you also touched on is the psychosomatic part of it, and it's not like you imagine some pain, but it seems to be that if you suppress your emotions long enough, your body will give you signs of in all kinds of ailments, from headache to stomach ulcers, like signals like, hey, there is something stuck in you, some emotion that you need to face, some memory that you maybe need to look at and heal from that. And yeah, in that sense, it all needs time. Even a wound in my hands with a cut or something like that needs time to heal. And then we have this old saying, time heals all wounds. Yeah.
And also the saying, heal it, feel it to heal it. But
that's
like,
a nice one.
yeah, but a lot of people don't even know, like, when also what you said, once, like, when you get triggered and it's like the emotion is so much bigger than just the event it is, then there's that is a sign that there's something much deeper going on, and maybe there's a trauma that needs to be healed. And lots of people don't even like know, like, when they have a lack of energy, when they're like procrastinating, and also when the triggering, like, there's so many different ways that, like, people don't even know that they have. There are people that are aware of their traumas, but there's also a lot of people that are not even aware that they have these, but they see it in different ways, like physical problems, mood swings, like the mood is not good. They have like all the other things that I mentioned. And that is also like a sign for, like, hey, but I believe, like, almost everybody's traumatized with this
basically.
society is. Like, everybody's traumatized. If you say you're not traumatized, it's like,
no. We also had a consensus today that it's basically society traumatizing people. A lot of people in mental health care that don't really have a disorder, as they classify it usually, but they're usually very sensitive people who cannot conform themselves to what society asks from them. So it takes them away from their own core. And doing that for a long time, you disconnect from yourself, and it causes all kind of problems. And instead of healing it, we have suppressed the symptoms with medication, and then we put them back into society, which makes the problem even worse.
Yeah, and in some countries you have more and more homeless people, and it's like there's like this society, it's like clearly not working for a lot of people, but for the people that think it works for them, it's still like it's not fully beneficial. Like, it's like there's so many, like, we have so much distractions going on, and so much, like, we think we need to look a certain way. It's like the like, or be a certain way. We have so much expectations of ourselves, and that is also like emotional, really, like, difficult for people, like, to feel.
Society is all about the outside and looking good. It's not about the inside. So it's about what you think and the material side. While what your inner being and what's concerning for your health, it's all found in the inside. But yeah, the social media for the last 2 decades only made the problem worse. It's become very hedonistic. It's all very superficial. It's all about the package and not about.
Just do a couple of dances. Do a couple of dances on TikTok and you have millions of viewers. Or like those ASMR things that they make strange noises. That's like.
Yeah,
thousands.
but also filtering out all the bad stuff. You only see the
Uh,
pictures of things that happening that are nice to look at. Nobody
yeah,
gives you a picture of, oh, I'm depressed today. Look at me, you know.
yeah, yeah. Like
No, look at
everything.
me. I'm on the beach. Then I'm on the beach all the time. Look at all my pictures. I'm always in a happy place. Wow, that's not real life. It's a
Yeah,
cartoon.
and then you have the light workers crying on the videos. It's like, but it's
Yeah.
also good to see a different perspective. Like, hey, like this the realness. Like your life is up and down. You don't think it
Mm-hmm.
always needs to be up and you always need to be happy. No, it's life has
Mm-hmm.
up and down. Shit
Mm-hmm.
happens. And that is also something that we need to realize. Like,
Yeah.
not every,
No,
like it's all not always roses and
it's even
sunshine. That you
it's
have rainy days and you have all sorts of other days, and that is also really like
true.
it's okay to acknowledge that.
Yeah, but it's even crazier. I mean, where do you think growth is at? Is it in the happy place where you grow as a person and develop your personality? In the happy place, nothing grows. It's like, oh yeah, I'm happy and I'm having a good time. No, there's no growth there. No, our growth, our human growth, and our self-development, it only takes place in these bad places where we feel bad and where we have to reinvent ourselves and bad stuff. You can, yeah, we call it bad stuff, but yeah, it's not nice to be in a yeah, at a funeral or in a divorce or losing my job or losing health. But dealing with that and overcoming it, that's where our growth is at. And by only painting a beautiful picture, there is no self growth. That's what I also mean with superficial. Yeah, I'm looking good, but on the inside, it's a mess. Look at humanity. We're looking good, but yeah, on the superficial side. But if you look at the picture, we're a mess.
And that's why it's also so good to go inside to feel that like inside yourself, like
Mm-hmm.
connect with yourself, connect
Yeah.
with your inner being, like self-love and meditation and what just being more present in general.
Yeah.
Like, what is here? What is here to discover? And
What
but a
is
lot of
healing?
people, yeah, but like you said, like you have like sometimes we have to have these bad things happening to like the universe makes you uncomfortable, then you grow. But
Mm-hmm.
once you're like conscious, you keep on only being more conscious.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
but
like
it's
layers.
yeah. So, but like there's always a big event that needs to happen before you sometimes you wake up or it goes gradually. It's for everybody different.
Yeah, you see it
Um,
happen around you. It doesn't really need to happen to you, but you can also see something happen to your neighbor or your fellow human being. That there's also some learning there, of course. But
yeah, but it goes. You feel like you process things differently also. Like
mm,
mm, you see the things different. Like you're much more like accepting of what life is in the
mm,
moment. Like
mm,
instead of like because the rejection of like the present moment of like you have other expectations, you think it should
mm,
be different. That costs a
mm.
lot of energy.
Yeah, yeah. That's a crazy thing that thinking does to us. Instead of
Mm,
changing our thinking towards what reality offers to us, we want to change reality to the picture that we made into our minds, in our minds about reality. If that makes any sense. But it's a crazy thing that we do. We have all these ideas, and when reality doesn't adhere to the ideas, we want to change reality instead of changing our minds. We do it
and that is
too.
like
Yeah, you
this.
too.
Yeah, but that's huge. The like changing your perspective and being more open to things and changing your perspective because you change your reality with that.
Yeah, but it's hard because a lot of people identify with with that mind. I think we discussed that before.
Yeah,
And then you need to reinvent yourself completely. That's very scary for a lot of people.
yeah.
And for us, we had to. That I think we
Mm.
discussed that also. Like if you have a divorce or some life-changing event, then you really have to look at yourself. Like, hey, can I? And that maybe shocks you into that this change and this healing that we're talking about. But for a lot of people, it's just a scary thing. in your mind, your thinking, your go-to place for all the problems, well, that's actually the cause of it. So it cannot help you there, and it cannot give you new views, because if it's not on the hard disk, you cannot even think about it. So you need other people into showing you different perspectives, and for that you need the dialogue, and that's something that we also are missing in society these days. It's all about debating my view versus your view, instead of sharing our views and learning from each other.
And that's why I really believe this is so valuable. What we're doing, we both have different perspective than a lot of people, and that's why it's so good that we are like sharing things for people, like, hey, that they can really feel into themselves. Hey, what is resonating with me, what not, and what is maybe what is like I feel like this is not I don't believe this, but I still want to be like open to hearing it. That is like where you like have to be like a bit more open.
That's the art. That's what Kay always used to say, is the art of listening. Huh? Instead of listening with your mind and trying to react to what you're hearing, actually listening to what somebody is trying to convey as a message. Putting yourself into not listening to you verbally, but actually trying to imagine myself into this situation, so it becomes like an insight instead of just information that just collects there and doesn't change a thing.
That's why it's so good to have that connection with your intuition, because you feel what resonates with you and what not.
Okay, so back to healing. How do I reconnect with my intuition? That might be a good one.
Yeah, well, I think listening to also your own body and your insights, making more conscious what's in there. And I think like meditation, like being more present. Like you can do things yourself, like journaling, being in nature, eating healthier, like physical. You can do all sorts of things like
mindfulness.
Yeah, that is also a really good one.
Singing is something that helped me in a very good way, because it works two ways. It's an expression of emotion. But if you're like very tense and your breathing is up in your chest, you cannot really sing. It needs to be relaxed and breathing from your stomach. So it also helps you to reconnect with feeling in your own body. That might be a good one.
I had
Playing
last week a
games.
singing circle here. Unity consciousness, like unity, a unity celebration circle for like that. And it was really beautiful with like people from all over the world. We were singing, and it's like that connects people so much. So it's like beautiful, like
So connecting with fellow humans.
in a different way. Like a lot of times you have events, but there's not events that really connect you. And I like the events when you have like people, like conscious people, like yoga, like this cacao
come
ceremony,
together.
and the singing circles. And I organized it also myself. I organized cacao ceremonies and singing circles when I was in Holland, and it really connects people in a deeper way, like and it's really beautiful.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. It's like what I've experienced. For instance, in the Corona era, where there were all these gatherings of people who were aware that something wasn't right. Let's put it like that. But the energy that you get from coming into an area where everybody is thinking in the same direction. I also been to what they call drum circles. And
Oh yeah, that's
some people
also
might be like, oh, that's shamanic. No, there you also experience like there is just a group of people with the same intent. And what that does is like you're lifting each other to a higher plane. It gives you energy. It's very amazing. Something that you also will see there is that sharing will always give you a surplus. I've been to many gatherings where you need to pay and your sandwich and whatever and whatnot. But if everybody gets the message, bring something for yourself and something to share, then there is always a surplus of stuff. There's always an abundance of food and drinks and stuff like that. So sharing and being with like-minded people. I would say that's very healing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I know the drum circle is also like really like you have the energy and you have that, but you also have that rhythm. You have one rhythm and you
Yeah.
have to be very present. So as soon as someone comes in and the rhythm changes, then you also change. So it's like
Yeah.
really like I did several drum circles and I really love that as well. So
It's reminiscent of the heartbeat. A good
yeah.
friend of ours, she used to call it like that, heartbeat gatherings. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. And then but then you also meet people that you immediately feel like I had one friend that I met at like a cacao ceremony. We were singing and we had a cacao and we were instantly connected. And you just feel the like almost like the soul of people. And
Yeah.
yeah, and that is really beautiful. So but
It's
also
about so it's also about being in a safe place, so you
mm,
can be vulnerable, show your vulnerability, and that's probably why these like-minded people, when you get together with these people and everybody is in the same intent, and that's why you lift each other up in a sense. It's very energetic.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's also a safe place where like when someone starts crying and screaming, everybody was like, okay, that's like that can be there. Like no one thinks, oh, that is strange or
No, you
uh
see compassion
yeah.
when something like that happens instead of not. I think that there you touch maybe on some unhealthy stuff that you see in society. People just don't know how to handle these things anymore.
Mhm.
When somebody is in pain, or be it physiological or psychological, people just don't know how to handle it anymore. So they just move away from it.
Mhm.
And in gatherings where people are a little bit more aware, then you see just normal human behavior. When you see somebody in pain, your instinctual reaction is, I'm going to help this person because I know this pain. It's my pain. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's humanity. I think we touched on that also a few times, like in your inner psychological awareness about anger and sadness and loneliness and happiness. It's the same for everybody. So if somebody is in grief or in pain, yeah, that's empathy basically. You
Mhm.
recognize yourself there. And, and I think then we are also touching on some unhealthy stuffs in society where people just don't have that compassion for each other anymore. They're
Mhm.
disconnected from themselves, so they don't recognize themselves in each other anymore either. So it's like a domino effect in that sense.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
how do we heal from that? And connecting, seek like-minded
Mhm.
people, listen to your intuition, what you also said. Does this feel good? Do I feel at ease in this situation? Or does my stomach start to squirm? Then now if your stomach starts to squirm, you don't feel at ease, maybe you should move to a different place. Maybe it's not so safe. But for a lot of people, they start to rationalize because that's our conditioning. Oh, it cannot be, and maybe they mean well, and you stay there, and you get hurt even more. So you get even more discomfort uh,
Because it's
and
like life gives you little tips, like tips on the
mm,
shoulder, but if you don't listen
mm,
to them, it gives you like this,
gives you a
and
slap.
yeah, you just laugh. But what you said, like your physical health, you can keep eating very bad, but then you get physical problems. Are you gonna wait till you get to physical problems, or are you already start eating healthier now?
Mm-hmm.
Address the problems in your relationship or your job, instead of like at one point it blows up. That is like it's like feeling what's happening in the moment, what you need in the moment, and are you check in with yourself? Are you happy with where you are?
Yeah, but that's easier said than done, huh?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
all of us are conditioned to approach
Mm,
it from the mind and not from your heart, not from the feeling. So we start to rationalize these things. And then, yeah, oh, I'm not dying from these chips, and I'm not dying from that. And getting back into non-processed foods, I realized in 6 months I realized, well, your body actually tells you what is healthy for you or what not. If you eat healthy foods for a long time, even if you get like a small piece of sauce coming from some package, some powdery stuff, you immediately get some sense like, oh, this is poison. I shouldn't eat this. But if you keep eating it, it's like drinking coffee or drinking wine for the first time. It's like, ooh, is this wine? I don't like it. They tell you, oh, you need to learn to drink that. No, your initial response, this is fucking poison. I shouldn't be drinking this, or I shouldn't be eating this. But you get used to it. It's like going to sit on a hot chair. That somebody has sitting there before, and after a few seconds, you don't feel that the seat is warm anymore. It's still warm. It's just that your body doesn't give you the signals anymore. And I think it's the same
Because
with
you're
taste
so
and poisons and stuff like
desensitized.
that. Yeah, desensitized, and it's probably also the same with being around the bad people, which are not good for you, which are not. Yeah. So I think you can draw this line through to a lot of stuff in our lives. We get used to it, desensitized, detached from yourself. So how do we heal from that?
But I had only like after my
Back to the core.
ayahuasca,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, oh, I don't want to eat this anymore. I don't want to drink this anymore. It's
Mm,
like in so many ways because I was more sensitive.
mm,
I immediately felt when the energy shifted or when I did something that lowered my energy, I so much that it was like at that moment I was like, now I want to make better choices,
mm-hmm.
and that is what me helped a lot with like, but I like,
So
but that's yeah.
ayahuasca for the people sorry that I interrupt you. For the people who don't know what it is, it's a plant medicine. It's coming from Brazil, the rainforest in South America, and it gives you visions. That's a visionary plant, and that helps you to see things that you are usually blind for. How would you explain it?
Yeah, and also a lot of healing, like
Mm-hmm.
healing, emotional healing. I was
Mm-hmm.
crying a lot, and then
Mm-hmm.
I felt like like almost like high, but in a different, like in a way that you see like things from a different perspective, and you
Mm-hmm.
get a lot of insight. So I have like I
Mm-hmm.
don't. A lot of people see visuals and see things, but I have always
Yeah.
like I go within and I have emotional healing,
Mm-hmm.
emotions that I feel. But even
Mm-hmm.
after I did ayahuasca, I felt immediately like the one time that was enough. And I feel like I
Mm-hmm.
get there with other plant medicines also. So
Mm-hmm.
like with mushrooms, I did some mushrooms, I did San Pedro,
Mm-hmm.
truffles,
You experimented a lot.
EMT. I did a lot of different things.
Can I
LSD.
ask you? Can I ask you a question? Would you say that it's the visions healing you, or is it the vision showing you something and you acting on it healing you?
Yeah. You are being shown something, and then
Mm.
you get information, and but you also have more energy to act on it.
But you need
Uh,
to act on it. If you don't act on
yeah,
it, you can be drinking ayahuasca for the rest of your life and nothing will change, right?
yeah, because I see a lot of people doing purging all the time, but they don't
Mm.
do the homework.
Yeah,
It's like the things that they actually need to do,
the inner
like
work and the shadow work and stuff like that.
yeah, the shadow work, but also like making better choices for yourself in your
Mm-hmm.
life.
Yeah.
And that is like, it shows you in that moment, oh, I should do this or this. But
Mm-hmm.
then you go back to like your normal reality and you forget about it. You go back to your
Yeah.
normal life. And that
You
is the
actually need to
homework.
you need to act on it.
Yeah, and that's the homework that you
Mm.
do. So I start with homework and I feel like I get lighter, and then I don't need like that much those medicines anymore to help me to
Mm-hmm.
reach a certain point. So I feel like I'm
Yeah.
more like a natural that. And then like it, but then it's like I feel that already when I do yoga,
Mm-hmm.
breathwork,
Yeah.
meditation, frequency. Like I love frequencies, like listening to frequencies, like
Frequency healing.
affirmations,
Mm-hmm.
subliminals, like on
Mm.
YouTube and stuff, and frequency healing. That also what I do. Just I feel like I'm more like, yeah, I'm glad we're in the place how I feel inside myself.
You know, your story reminds me kind of. Do you know the lessons of Don Juan from Carlos
Yeah, I heard a
Castaneda?
bit about it. Yeah,
He also starts out meeting a shaman and working with cactus and peyote, and then in the end he realizes like, hey, this is something I can do without the plant medicine. So it's pretty cool to see this metaphor in your story that you I tried ayahuasca a few times, of one time, and I started to act on it, and in the end I realized, oh, I can also do this with a yoga session or some meditation and come to the same state.
Yeah, so you see that and you feel that. And that's why I really love doing yoga and meditation and frequencies. So to really bring me in that state, like because when you're like meditating, you can't go anywhere, you have just a thought, then those things come out. Then those things come out like because like that's why I also very much like I'm not busy with procrastinating. I do everything what I feel like or that I need to do, because in that state those things come up, like what I forgot also or what I actually need to do. So that is also with the plant medicine, they give you also a slap in the face, or like, hey, you have to get your act together. You
Pay
need to,
attention.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you see what's in your subconscious that comes up.
That's
So so if you make sure that you have everything set, then you have, and it also feels different, like how long you do it. In the beginning, like meditation was like suffering for me. It was like, is it already done? Is it already like how many more minutes? And then it was like a couple of minutes was like hell. And then the longer you do it, it's less your grocery shopping list comes by, but you get suddenly like a message like, yeah.
Yeah, meditation is still a weird one for me. I think a lot of people come to me or came to me saying, well, meditation is sitting like so, and you're breathing. I'm like, I think by now, because then you're it comes to me like it's your mind telling your mind to be quiet. That's kind of like a paradox to me, right? So
Yeah, we talked about it. It's like just being in the
yeah,
present. I think
so
first you need
it's
that.
yeah, I think real meditation, what is trying, not trying, is being in the present with your full attention. That's probably, and nature usually does that to you. Like, whoa, you're like absorbed into your view, in the view of nature, and there is no room for mind. Then that's meditation. Being fully aware, putting your full attention into what you're doing. I think even vacuum cleaning can be meditation. I think a lot of housewives would agree with me.
It's what is your mindset in the moment that you do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be so much. So you can approach everything what you need to do in such a different way,
As a
like, and
meditation.
yeah, so then it
Yeah.
also, the things that you don't like doing becomes a meditation, becomes fun, if you change your mind about it. But I think some people need first that training of the mind, just to sit with the breathing or what mantras or whatever, breath work. It is a tool that gets you in that
It's a
state.
bridge. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bridge. I think breathing is such a nice one, because breathing we do unconsciously, but you can also do breathing consciously. So that creates a bridge from the subconsciousness to the consciousness.
Yeah, with the yoga that I do a lot, there's a lot of breath work in it as well. And
Yeah.
then you have to keep concentrating on the mantra or the breath. And then you can't go to your head space. So in a very short time, you feel that state, like to like peaceful state quicker. And I think a lot of people first need those like trainings or like doing that with themselves.
Yeah, before you know what experience you're actually aiming for. And maybe that's why plant medicine sometimes works so well, because it kind of detaches your mind and you're there instantly. So now you know what to aim for. But I think the danger is a little bit into going to making this plant medicine into the cure. It's not the cure. It's just something that points you at, hey, that's where you can aim for. And then when you do the real work, you don't need the plant medicine to get there. Or the meditation is also a way. Deep thinking is also a way. Going to sit in nature is also a way through there. There's not just a single path to that state, I guess.
And that's why it's for everybody different. But we're all longing for something like the feeling. And once we are there, we know it. Like, hey, we know it. Like
Mm.
we feel like aligned and tapped in, and like that it's such a beautiful feeling, but it's like then it's like it's almost like a base feeling that you
Mm.
have. And then you also, whatever happens in your life, like it's a base feeling, whatever happens, like the highs and lows, you go back to that base feeling of like,
Mm. Oh, you have a go-to place whenever something shakes your foundations, you mean?
yeah, and you also
Mm.
quicker back to the base, like that base feeling, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
It's easier to
Think.
deal with whatever coming at you. You
Mm.
can just keep being relaxed. And I think it's also a combination from like outside and inside,
Yeah.
like tapping inside of you, like what's happening in your outside reality or inside,
Mhm.
that it's like
But
you
what are we healing when we're doing that, huh? Yeah, I would almost say that thinking is disease and healing is not thinking, if it, especially when we're talking meditation.
Mhm. But
I mean,
sometimes you also have to like check in with yourself. I feel like if
mhm,
you're like that you feel what's going on and
mhm,
what's happening in your body and how you feel and how you can also shift whatever you need to shift. And there's also lots of tools like
mhm,
physical, like shaking is also a really good thing, like right, to let it go, but
mm,
also good for like for real trauma healing. So like
yeah.
shaking
Or
is really,
tapping. Tapping is
yeah.
also very good for bodily awareness.
Yeah, emotional freedom technique is like tapping, but it's all about like if you are more in your body also, then you're not
Mm,
as much in your mind. So just coming
yeah.
back into your body, that's why exercise like yoga, exercises, qigong, like
Grounding
or even
practices.
massages.
Mhm,
Yeah. Massages is also really good to come into your body. You can even do that for yourself.
mhm,
And then you also release blockages that are there that you don't even know what is in
yeah.
there. So there's so many ways that you
Yeah.
can do. But
But
also,
mhm.
yeah,
Now, I was just gonna insert that a lot of people will say, "I don't have time for this. I have my job and my family and my this and that and the other thing. Where do I find the time for all this?"
if you want, you will find it because if you have time to scroll, then you have time to watch your mindless television, you have time to do
Exactly.
a couple of minutes of shaking,
True.
for a
Yeah,
couple
but
of
I want
minutes
leisure.
of
I want leisure
healing.
time, huh? I need entertainment.
Yeah, but like we do it at the same time. I was doing mudras when I was watching things. You can do mudras while you're watching a movie or a
Yeah,
series.
yeah,
You can do
yeah.
mudras. I sometimes watch things, and then it's like subtitles, and I'm listening to subliminals and affirmations on
Can you
my.
really do that? Yeah, you're a woman, huh? You can do two things at the same time.
No, don't ask, don't ask my partner. he, he thinks that he's better at doing things at the same time than me. So.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So, but that is just in the background. Like I do affirmations and subliminals in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
And
One of them becomes subconscious. Yeah.
yeah, and I also do like yoga and I'm listening to trainings or like
Mm,
podcasts.
mm,
Not when I need rest, then I'm just listening to music or no music. But
mm.
it's what you have to feel what you need. Do you need energy and stimulation
Yeah.
and more energy, or do you need rest and relaxation? Because some people are not even used to just lying around, sitting around, just
Sitting still,
watching, yeah,
not
doing
saying
nothing,
anything. Yeah, true.
listening to music.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
always
listening to why music? Why not just sit in the woods and listen to the birds?
yeah, that's also possible.
That,
There's amazing
as an
birds here.
example, not as a criticism. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean,
and
we all
that's.
long for this entertainment instead of just being here. Listen to your own heartbeat. That kind of
Mm.
sobers me up usually. Like, oh
Yeah,
wow,
I like
I'm
you.
alive.
Yeah, but I find very much like music also to
Mm,
I have like certain music this relaxes me. So I
yeah.
know when I'm like especially when you're like people are breathing from here,
Hmm.
then it's like there's a like you're maybe too much stressed. You have to breathe much deeper all the way to your belly.
True.
And
the music can also heal, in a way. We have these frequency healings, but I think they also proven that a lot of classical music, like Bach and stuff like that, it's also very healing, also for the mind.
yeah, and opening the heart. It's
Mm.
a lot of the classical music was like really opening the heart, and they were already doing that for 23 hertz a lot in it.
Mm.
They also have different frequencies, and I love like frequency music. You can just tune into whatever you want to feel. Like you could just do like I want this, I want this, I want the release of this. But also
Mm.
on YouTube you can do meditations,
Mm.
guided meditations for this, like healing meditations for this. Like it's this for self-love, this for like success,
Yeah.
this for abundance. It's like
Yeah, and also thinking about people who are not really into meditation and a little bit more coming from the outside, and maybe music or classical music is as less of a distance to them. It's easier to, like, even not believing in it. I think with music, and I have an anecdote from my own life actually. When my grandmother was starting to be a little bit demented, and you could see the difference because sometimes the nurses would put them behind television in the morning, and some weird tell cell at all day, and then if you would meet her in the afternoon, she would be like totally, like almost like a vegetable. But if you would put her, one of her favorites was the classical channel, and with classical music and opera. And if you would meet her then in the afternoon, she would be clear-headed and actually be able to hold a conversation. And that was every time. So it's not like, oh, it's a coincidence that she's clear-headed when she's listening to classical music. No, she actually started to play around with this thing. So I know from my own experience that it actually has a big influence on your state of mind, even if you
Mhm.
don't believe in it, even if you don't do it consciously. So yeah.
But it's almost like, but it also feels like we're not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I listen to classical music on plant medicine, I was like, it's you feel it in your whole body, and you like,
Oh
I
yeah.
started crying. I'm like I didn't even know what's like. You just feel the music, and I started crying, and then it was like it's called tristesse or something.
Yeah.
So it's like feel the emotions in the music also much deeper.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah. Like Vivaldi. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Totally
like,
agree.
but then also lots of times it takes a while before you can really appreciate that. Like when
Mm-hmm.
you're young, you don't want to listen to classical music.
No, but because everybody's telling you it's boring. So is that really your own opinion, or is that something that people are telling you?
And
I
I
think
think
that's
I didn't
also.
like that at all myself. Like
Mm.
I was
No,
like listening to
I
that.
can honestly say that before I really started to listen to classical music, it was more tainted by what people had told me.
Okay.
People of the same age. I mean, all the kids around me, they wanted to listen to hard rock and hip hop and all these things. Classical music, that's from my grandpa. So you immediately have like a bias against it. So
Mhm.
I think I was 30 or 30 something before I really started to listen and found the deeper dimension in these kinds of music. Maybe
But
that's
I
a
was
personal thing.
when I was really young already, like 18, 19, I already felt like connected with like Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, like all those
Hmm.
60s, 70s music. When
Yeah.
I was really young already, like all my friends were not listening to that, but you just like you feel it, like and that is interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like for everybody is also the music differently, like like you feel it in a different
The way you
way.
experience it, you mean?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a matter of taste, also, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but that's why everybody's different. Everybody feels like
Hmm.
connected with different ways of like being and what you do
Hmm.
in life. Like
Yeah.
that is so beautiful. Like you can, it's like how you are and whatever you do and whatever you choose and whatever you focus on, it's all your creation. Like you can have like
Hmm.
more responsibility for yourself. Like the choices you make, the things, what are the channels you want to
Hmm.
connect with? What is like you will
Yeah.
feel the frequency, and the more you like raise that or like your consciousness, then
Hmm.
things fall away, people fall away, places fall away. The things you're interested in are different.
Mm.
It's like your whole reality changes. It's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah. Constantly, I guess.
Yeah, all the time. Like there's like you have like again a dark night of the soul and something happened and you do like or you do new healing. I had a healing from a friend of mine. Like she took things away of previous lives and she saw
Mm.
myself like, oh, you're now like free. I was like dancing and yeah, I actually like I know like something heavy went away, but it's crazy. Like that's why I also do energy healings because
Mm.
you, from a different perspective, you take things away in a gentle way that people don't have to take and finally let go of. But it's also things from the childhood, things from the family, from the ancestors, things like that you even don't even know that you're walking around with. But it's because your body is so intelligent, it
Mm.
still stores all of the blockage, all of the emotions, but even from
Mm.
past lives, it's really crazy. People have, and you can do it so many different things. You can heal things. And that's why I feel like we get the opportunity to, in a very short time, heal things, like deep things, in a very short time that you maybe before it was like took years or weeks or like maybe lives to transform it. And we like, yeah, we can do that now, like really like deep things. And it's really interesting times that we're living in, like because like
That's for sure. Yeah.
and like things come to the surface to be
Mm.
healed. And how do you do that? Like you can, there's like infinite ways of that you can.
Yeah. But a lot of people will say, well, I'm not really sick. Why should I be healed?
Now, well, that's what I said. Like a lot of people are like don't even know um that they need healing, but because they don't know that they're traumatized. But let me tell
Mm.
you, as soon as you do this, you feel much better and lighter and more clarity and more energy.
Mm.
And there's so many different ways. Like we talked about already about tapping, but there's also like deep trauma healing, letting go of the past. For me, what really helped me was a lot was family constellations.
Mm.
That
We're talking again trauma healing,
yeah,
spiritual healing, psychological healing.
yeah.
Mm.
There's so many, like it's crazy. Like there's so like
Physiological healing. Yeah.
yeah.
Usually, that's usually an expression of one of the other ones. Well,
Yeah, that's why.
a
But
lot of times.
everybody needs to find what resonates with them, what's happening. But a lot of times the trauma starts with your own family, like
Mm.
and your childhood, and there's things that happened there. Like I had a good childhood, people that like quite aware already, and like, but they were also still traumatized, and
Mm.
um there's still like a lot of things that all the time when I do plant medicine, when I do family constellation, always goes back to my father and my mother, like the biggest
Mm.
like, reflections, of good things or bad things that I also have in me, like a really good mirrors.
Yeah.
And then we learn a lot from it. And then in family constellations, I find out there are some things that were
Mm-hmm.
like in there, like emotions that I didn't even know that I had that. Like even
Mm.
and that is for me family constellation was really magical because you get like I was in the beginning very skeptical. My mom said you have to do this and I'm like yeah, especially because I was like really like what she says like
Mm-hmm.
it was like
Mm-hmm.
face like I don't think so. And
No,
then I did,
I know family and system work, family constellation. It works with the subconsciousness.
yeah, and then you put people in places when you have a question about your family and you put people in places and
You're my
then
mom, you play my dad, and
yeah,
then you see how you react to it.
yeah, and then words come out, emotions come out,
Mm.
and you have the person that asking the questions, and you have the person that are like playing the constellation. And with them, it's also a reflection of what is happening in them. So it's like very healing for everybody. Like
Mm.
even if you don't ask the question, you were put in a place where it's also a reflection of your own family.
Yeah, it creates awareness, I would say, and then the
Yeah.
healing starts. Yeah.
Yeah. And like things come up and emotions and words that you don't even know that are in there. Like the first time I was there, I needed the person who asked the questions put me there as him. And then I was like, my father and mother put up, and then I was like, hello, hello, here I am, here I am. I didn't know, like, hello, and they didn't see me. And then that person said, so, yeah, I was the youngest of 12 children and I felt never seen. Uh, and he says, yeah, that was exactly me. And I was like flabbergasted by that. But I also saw, like, also had that reflection of my own youth in a different way. And it gives me always a lot of insight on in a lot of layers. I really love it. Yeah, I did a lot of
Yeah,
them.
there's always a lot of parallels with other people, because I'm really into Gabor Mate for the last few years, who actually also shows you that almost everybody is traumatized because of what happens in your first 5 to 6 years, and you don't really get a good connection, with a safety connection with your mom, because you're actually wired to be very close and protected, safe for the first few years. I think in some cultures they don't even touch the ground for the first few years. You get skin on skin contact with your mother for years before you're being let go. And in our society these days, you get pulled out of the womb, you get a slap on the ass, and you get put into the bed. And even bringing up, since the 60s, there was some child psychologist saying, well, if your child cries, just let it cry, it needs to grow up. And that is actually very traumatizing, it seems, right now, that we're actually wired for the closeness, for actually maturing in a very safe environment. And then they would also say, like, it doesn't take a mom or a dad to raise a child, it takes a whole tribe to raise a child. So in indigenous people, it wouldn't be just you and your spouse raising your children. There would also be all the aunties and all the uncles and the grandmothers and grandfathers, and it would be constant safe environment, which gives you a very safe base for your own identity, which is basically lacking for almost everybody in modern society.
Yeah, it's huge. Like, but not only like with childhood, like when I do my healings, I take also the emotions away from people in the womb. While like the mother is like conceived, while you're just still an embryo but you feel all those emotions.
Yeah, if your mother is
Later,
stressed and she has all these stress hormones raging through the body, it's only natural. Or your mom is raped and you're a child of rape. But that does to the state of mind and to the body of the woman. Or there is famine, there is not enough food, and you're stressed. Or in wartime, look at what's happening now in Gaza. Imagine being pregnant over there, or being a small child over there. What that does to you. But those are the easy examples. What I was trying to point out, it's actually in our society, the way we think is good way to bring up children. That's already so disfigured that it's actually traumatizing everybody. I mean, you're not allowed to be yourself. You're not allowed to express yourself in the way that you're as a child should be expressing yourself. You don't have the safe environment to grow up without being afraid or scared or stressed or with anger or all these emotions around you. You're just coming into this world, and you should actually be in an environment where you're safe all the time, where you're gradually start to make sense of this world around you instead of just having to be lucky, because that's basically what's happening right now.
yeah, but it's also like every trauma is different from everybody, and like whatever trauma is, it's valid. Like a lot of people say, oh yeah, but I didn't have it that bad. But it's like
Yeah.
there's like then you're like, oh, at least I didn't have this, but you still had different things happening. So it's also for everybody is different. And I had one time a trauma healing workshop, and it was the person said not only the trauma that like is bad, like bad things happening to you and bad attention and like things happen, but also not at all people totally ignoring you and like not having any attention or love. That is like also really, really
the lack of attention.
yeah, so
It's the same thing.
because you
Then you
have
don't
like the good
exist.
attention, the bad, but also the lack is also really traumatizing for people.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need attention.
Yeah.
We need touch. I think I once read. Well, I know I once read if a baby, if it doesn't get human touch, it needs to be touched, else a baby will die. I think it's the same with adults, and we know this because if people done bad things, we put them in isolation. You still die, just maybe a lot slower because your body is used to more. But babies actually need touch. They need to be in a safe environment. They need to be seen. It's inherent in our being. So in that sense, it's very sad to see what society now does. Huh? We don't even what we started to talk about. If you look at the social media craze right now, we don't even. Yeah, but I'm seen. I got 1,000 likes. No, you're not being seen for you. You're being seen into the image that you made of yourself. That's not you. That's what you think people want to see in you. You know, most people don't even know who they actually are because they never looked within. They only react to whatever is happening around them, and they paint a picture out of that, and they say, "That's me." You know, that's the image of you. So
Yeah, and even the
that's the
people
deep,
that
the
are,
deep thing underneath it. It's very
yeah,
sad.
and the people that are like really sharing themselves, it's not always get recognized. Like it's almost like you get recognized with like-minded people. They think like, oh, this is great. But other people, they can't like fathom, like they can't grasp what you're saying almost. Like it's like
No,
yeah.
it's a totally different dimension for them because they've been
Yeah.
conditioned to, oh, but I look good, my hair is good, I have nice clothes, my lips are the good size, so why don't you like me? I have been conditioned that this is the way that people will start to like me. It's actually
But
very sad.
yeah, it's very sad, but they don't even know what they're putting in their lips. And also like there's like people that do boob jobs. Yeah, I need to tell this because people have like there's like the things that they put in their bodies are actually toxic and they start leaking and people have like severe
Symptoms.
physical problems because of that. Like and it's really like I came across that not so long ago with someone who actually had that. And she had it like removed, but she has now like a chronic disease because of it. And it's really like people like are not even aware what they're doing, what they're putting up in their bodies. Like also the things what they use for like supplies, like for shampoos, conditioner,
Oh yes,
makeup. Their makeup is not even doesn't have any rules. They can put all the toxins in there and the heavy metals and.
So society makes you first not like yourself, not accept you as yourself, and then they say, "Oh, we have to fix for you. Put enough makeup, put enough boobs here, put some gel in your lips, and then people will like you."
It's really, yeah.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
So what's healing? What's healing there? What would be the solution to such things?
Accepting yourself as you are and self-love journey, like really seeing what is happening with you inside and feeling, yeah, I think we also addressed it in one of our other talks, like really like affirmations, talking to yourself in the mirror, feeling that inside of you, like that love, because it's sometimes I think I felt it all one time in a healing when I was doing like a meditation and it was like guided meditation, and someone was saying, feel all the love that you feel for everybody. Feel that how much love like you feel for this person, and they say, this is your own love that you feel. Because there's a reason that you feel that inside of you.
Yeah.
Did they reflect that back to you? And that's for the first time I felt like, oh, that is like, I have that. Like a lot of people feel that for others, but not so much for themselves. But the feeling itself is inside of you.
That is you. Yeah.
That was for me a big realization to be like, oh, now like, I know
If you
what I
didn't
need.
have, but if you didn't have the right examples growing up, nobody was loving to you, and you never recognized this feeling, and it's very hard to heal from that.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to go on that road to feel that inside of you. And then, but also what you miss and when you were a child, like like you check the love languages, like what love language is good for me. Like what you say, touch, words of affirmation, time, like attention, and what is else?
Gifts.
Gifts. Yeah, that's but what was else? Like I think it's time and it's words of affirmation, like time and
Words of
attention.
affirmation, touch, like hugs and stuff like that.
And it's really like important because sometimes people feel that they were not loved because someone just had a different love language.
Safety, feeling safe around somebody.
Yeah, so like
Very
for
important.
instance, like I had a father who didn't say nice things, but he do things for me. But because my love language is saying things, I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
But also by understanding your own love language and what you are here to bring, you bring in what you're looking for actually. So like that's why I bring the word of affirmation. So I bring like the touch, like hugging, like that, and that's by bringing your frequency and your what you think,
You're flavored, so to speak.
yeah, what you think the word needed, what I needed. That's why you become like what I needed, I bring.
Yeah, you become an ambassador of your own love, so to speak.
Yeah, be the change you want to see in the world, be the love you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody different. So that's why we all have a different frequency. We all have a different when we are like knowing ourselves more. That's why we are more and more like if we're authentic self, we become like characters in a movie. It's like that then life itself
So
becomes more
the
interesting.
way to healing is for sure knowing yourself. I think that's where it should start, no?
Yeah, and
Knowing
being authentic
yourself,
self.
accepting yourself, and so loving yourself with all your faults, with all your, and only then you can extend that love to somebody else.
Yeah, and then you can also you become like almost like a character because some people think you're crazy or weird, but you
Oh,
become
so
actually just yourself.
yeah, it's not how I would phrase it because I don't see myself as a character. I would because I that connects to me to something fake, a character.
No, but in a good way, because then you're living your own movie and then
You're
your own
yeah,
life
then
becomes
you
more
become the
interesting.
how do you call it, the main star in your own movie.
Yeah, you're the main star. Yeah, like you're the director, you're the actor, you're the like I always say like everybody says like you're the writer, the director, the actor, and I always say you also the screen, like you're that everything behind it as well.
Yes. Now I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you also then you like you can write also like your own storylines and become the character that you actually want to be. Like before, you had always layers around it, and
That's literally the truth.
yeah,
You can
get
fill it
all
in the
those
way you
layers,
want it. Mm.
and you peel off the layers of the onion, and you become more and more yourself.
So and then we're coming back to knowing yourself and seeing the difference between your conditioning, the things that people have told you to be, and the real you that's underneath there. That's the layers that you need to peel off. The son and the schoolboy and all the roles that you had to play in your life. And deep underneath there is that inner child that spoke that should be still there somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's where you can start to play with, and that's the thing. That's that main character, I guess.
Yeah, and then life becomes more like a play and like a playground.
Yeah.
And like that, but that's why I said like those two things are so important, like doing that healing, doing the trauma healing, and then making sure that your past is not affecting too much your present reality.
Yeah.
And then making better choices, so you feel better, lighter, and you have like you can like experience.
It's that saying, heal your old hurts so you don't bleed on the person that didn't cut you. Something
Oh,
like that.
that came in so much the first time I saw that.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, there's so many
That
people
was
that
a deep
are
one.
bleeding on others. Like again, heal your own wounds so you're
Me
not bleeding
too.
on others.
I was that person too in the past.
Yeah, me too. And like only later we find out. Like I was like, oh, that person that is on my work that's always very dominant and saying what things need to happen, and I'm like, oh, I'm that too for other people. Like, oh, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that person that I didn't like so much on my job. Oh, I was that same person in my previous job. It's like,
So healing is also awareness.
yeah, like awareness of your own roles that you have to, and your own patterns. And like when people saying like a toxic relationship, what is your responsibility in that relationship? And are you having like unconscious patterns within yourself and you don't even know it?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I can fill a whole podcast with that. All the lessons that I got from toxic relationships.
oh yeah,
Actually mirroring big lessons to me. Yeah.
yeah, that is also something really interesting. Maybe we can talk one time about relationships. That's also a good one. Relationships, because
we can do that. But
I
I
have
think
also
what
YouTube.
few of my former relationships will also be watching this.
Mine, I don't think so. Most, most of
Well, I don't mind. I don't mind spreading truth. And, yeah.
But I have also YouTube with my partner, where we talk about our relationship, but all our adventures also, but also about the relationships in general, conscious relationships, and like really people can learn, like, because we really want to let people know, because it's not easy to be in a relationship, especially also when you're like
No.
conscious, because then you're even conscious of all your trauma and your clashes and stuff.
True.
It's like that's like it's not even
It's a
easy.
big mirror.
Yeah, it's a big mirror. Yeah. So, but it's healing. It's always healing.
To deal with
And
it. I mean, I would like to emphasize it. It's healing when you deal with it. If you run away from it, which most people do these days, we just divorce and start somewhere else.
yeah,
Then it's not healing at all. Then you just repeat yourself over and over again. You become very good at avoiding
yeah.
instead of growing.
But I felt always when it was over, I was doing a lot of healing and self
Mm,
work, and
yeah.
then the other person is also you change, and then the other person is a different mirror of you, and it still can be like a mirror of your old self or mirror of your new self. Like what do you that's so that still comes by. Yeah, it's a whole interesting subject. So that maybe for
Yes.
next time. I really like that.
Relationships, not even in partnership. I mean, your friends, you also go into a relationship with.
Yeah, the communication, like,
Yeah.
and it's so important, like how you communicate with each other, and that you express yourself as much as possible. Like we have like in English and Dutch, or like we sometimes have mass communication just because we
Yeah.
did with different languages. Even my English is quite okay,
Yeah.
but it
No,
still
my
happens.
latest partner, he had the same problems. He was from Latvia, and you still have this communication because you translate your Dutch into English, and then she needs to translate the English into Latvian. So then you're like triple. It's almost like that game in school, when there's somebody tells you something and it comes out totally different at the other end.
Yeah, and you also see it happening, like how people react on what you
Yeah.
said, and you were like, huh, I think I said something totally different. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's really interesting. So that's
There's a lot to learn there. Yeah, that's for sure.
So I have a person that I invited for my podcast that talks about she wrote a book about narcissistic relationships, and I
Oh,
invited
that's
her to the
interesting.
podcast. So maybe we'll see. Maybe she even wants to join our talk about that. But it's really about like seeing what is happening inside yourself, what you need to heal, what you like, what is like your mirrors, and like knowing yourself, seeing what is still there to release. Like we talked about all sorts of different things, but one thing I also wanted to say on is like forgiveness, like
Oh
forgiving
yes.
others
Oh yes.
and forgiving yourself. Like there's a lot of times a guilt for people, like, oh yeah, I reacted, I reacted, and then there's guilt or shame.
Yeah.
And letting that go, and also forgiving whoever wronged you, and knowing that they also, on one hand, a reflection, like, but that is also something, it's like the paradox. One hand, people, everything is a reflection, but maybe sometimes also not. Like, it's like,
Oh, forgiveness is a big one, big in the
yeah,
sense
yeah.
of healing, because forgiveness is actually also letting go of the resentment, of the anger, of the hatred, which is actually poisoning yourself. I think it was Buddha saying, like, holding on to anger is like holding on to a hot coal, or hating somebody is like putting fire to your own house to get rid of a rat.
Yeah, and drinking
That's
your own
actually,
poison all the time.
yes. So forgiveness, and also yourself, because you didn't know. Yeah, I think that's a big part of healing, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can only do your best, but every time you know different, like oh, I would have done it like this, but you didn't know what when you were younger. Like
No,
also
you
forgiving for
needed
all
that
that.
experience to come to this realization. And that's what some people always like to skip. Oh, if I do my life over again, I would skip this. Well, then you would still be an imbecile, because you needed that lesson to come to this awareness. And that's what I mean. The growth is actually in the bad places, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the real growth is at. That's where also the healing is found, by the realization of what is happening there. We need these mirrors yeah, to find these unhealed pain bodies in our system.
And that's why I also like the Ho'oponopono, no, it also says Ho'oponopono. It's that forgiveness prayer from Hawaii. And
Yeah, I think I've heard it once in one of these mantra gatherings.
yeah, but it's like
Ho'oponopono.
I forgive you, I'm sorry, thank you, I love
Yes,
you.
yeah,
And then really
yes.
like with intention, say that to the
Mm,
people where you still need to say that to, and also to yourself.
mainly yourself.
Yeah, yeah. So I really like that practice to do that.
Mm,
Yeah, I
that's a
did.
good mantra. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
just,
better than I'm not worthy, I don't look right, and those are also mantras. Yeah.
yeah. So
I need
let's
some
make sure.
silicone in my body. No, you don't.
Yeah, make sure that you change the way you the things you say to yourself, your mantras you say to you, but also like how you view yourself and what you say to yourself. Like, oh, I did this wrong. No, no, you learn. Next time you can do better.
I
You
made a
can,
mistake. Yeah,
yeah,
well,
we're all here. No one is perfect. Like
I
we're
think
all
that's the
making.
crazy thing. You know your own intent, and if you know your
Yeah,
intent wasn't bad, how can you say that you did something wrong?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's people that is a whole other discussion.
Yeah, I know. That's
I know
why.
that I
That's
have
why.
good intents, but
Mm.
with everybody, but like other people would say not when they.
Yeah, you have hurt me. Yeah, okay. If I have a remote control of your feelings, let's make it euphoric. Why stop at happiness? Oh, it doesn't work like that. So how can I make you angry?
Yeah,
I
but
think I
it's
think we should make a podcast about that too. That people realize, hey, if everything happens on the inside, you cannot make me angry. I don't, it's you giving somebody else the power to destabilize your own inner peace.
yeah
I'm not
that
making anybody angry.
I had it on my job. I had a really posted this meme like don't let other people disturb your inner peace.
Hmm.
And I needed that daily to that reminder in front of my computer.
Yeah, it's very relatable, especially in office jobs.
That reminder every day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's like but that is also like really interesting. People are a reflection of you, people not a reflection, because there's also people that are just like completely rude. I'm like,
True.
yeah, it's and that's also like you need to have boundaries and like which people do you want in your life, and you at one point,
But in that sense, they're also a reflection of you, because if you don't put your boundaries,
yeah,
then those people can walk all over you. So it's actually always about you. Because if
yeah.
somebody
So
is very rude to me, I can say that one time, and then the second time is like, oh, there's something wrong with your ears, and I move out of the way. Don't want to be
yeah,
around somebody like that anymore. But if you stay there, yeah, they can hurt you over and over and over and over again. That's your own boundary.
yeah, and this is a good one that like yeah that
Hmm. Go for it.
yeah, now, well, in relationships, like people have like this dysfunctional family,
Mm.
they have like red flags in relationships. Like they get like almost like not treated well, but they
Mm.
see that as an attraction because that is how the love felt when they were young.
Yeah, and you're used to it. It's like
Yeah.
it's known terrain, huh? It feels almost comfortable because that's the life you know.
Yeah.
And the new behavior is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Everything that you haven't experienced before is scary, but it's also adventurous. I
But
think a lot of damage is found into the repetition of the past. It's mechanical.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a false sense of safety to be found there, but there is no safety at all. There is no control, never. You can die every moment. So start to live. If you
Yeah,
know
but
that you
that's
can
why
die
people
any
have
moment,
that.
every hour is important.
That's why
Every
people have
moment.
that push and pull also in relationships, like
Mm.
like hate love thing, that like they're not aware of like what is happening there. So
Yeah. So you project it on the outside. It's your fault. That's the
yeah,
that's the thing that your mind does. It tries to help you by conserving energy, but it's not really helpful most of the time.
yeah, but that's also with your jobs. Like people need to be aware of like, does it give you energy? Are you happy in
Mm.
it?
Mm.
Like, but it's also like conformity. Like, oh, I have the safety. I have this steady job.
Mm.
And then like it's already like scary to find a different thing, a different job, but maybe
True.
like instead of like wondering like it could be worse, like let's start wondering maybe it could be even more better, like when everything like can be even more
Yeah.
better, but
Why
that's
why
not how
set,
the brain
why
works.
settle for less? But I also think it's also a little bit about accepting the situation. You could be a garbage collector and still find some decency in there. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, but
you
it's
don't you don't you don't need to be the CEO of a company to have a good job.
no. So that's a really good way as well. Like there's
Mm.
again the paradox
Yeah.
is where you are. Like, and that's only you know that. Only
Yeah.
you know that what you whatever in your life doesn't make
Mm.
you happy, and not
Well,
only not doing new things because because they're scary. Do it also because it gets like maybe it's really amazing.
yeah, and it's that paradox. It's also a paradox in a sense. You want change, but you keep doing the same thing. If you really want change, you need to do something that you have never done before. And your mind will say, don't do it, because the mind has no memory of it, so it doesn't know how to deal with it. So you need to just trust your intuition and your intelligence and just dive into it. That's how
Yeah.
you learn new things. That's how you change your life.
And that's how you follow your heart. And
Yeah.
that's your biggest like guidance at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And even doing things that are scary, like in the past,
Mm-hmm.
another job was scary for me, and now I changed countries. So
Yeah, yeah, you just fly to across the ocean and go. Yeah, that's very scary for a lot of people. Huh? Just let go.
yeah,
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
even knowing what will happen in the future. Like,
But isn't there? But in that adventurous way of living, isn't that where life is found? I mean, in the repetition, every day, same job, same thing, same thing. That's the so-called security. It's boring as fuck. But
yeah,
not knowing what's going to happen today and going through that adventure, that's where life is found. At least that's the way I have started to see it.
yeah, and also going to different events. They
Yeah.
say even if you change, like go from a different road coming to your work or going back, you
Yeah.
change, like, this will change your life. Like
That's how you actually can train your mind to become less mechanical, because it will always try to conserve energy by doing the same thing, because that's safe.
Yeah. So there's like even little habits, little changes can really change someone's life. So that's really important.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
interesting.
also a totally new podcast, I guess. Changing habits.
Oh my! So yeah, really interesting. I think we touched on a lot of things.
Yeah.
If we didn't touch on it, we touched in it a previous talk.
Probably. It was fun to do again. Thank
Or
you.
next one. So,
To be
people that watch
continued.
this,
Yeah.
so people that watch this, maybe we touched on this a previous talk, and maybe we will touch even more things that came by for next talk. Like especially, I think relationships will be.
It would be nice if you could get your friends that wrote the book to join that kind of podcast. Because also we should change the name to a conversation between two friends. The last 3 podcasts it was just
conversation with Guillaume and me. Well, I know that people will join, but I think indeed what you said, lots of people have like shyness, and not everybody is comfortable with telling their full truth. It's like
yeah, it's scary maybe, I guess, for some people, but I don't mind giving you some momentum, so keep inviting me. I will be here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, but it's also because I do this already longer. Like I don't care what people think of me. Like I'm
No,
just
me neither.
like,
It tells me a lot of new things about those people. That's
my first interview ever was like people saying this woman talks too much. This woman doesn't know what she's talking about.
they've been telling me that too. You talk too much. Okay, maybe you should listen better. Then I don't need to use that many words. It reminds me of days of old where people would say you think too much, and I would always answer, well, it's not that I think too much, it's that you don't think at all, so the contrast is that big for you.
And if people think I talk too much, it's like you have to see me and my partner, like not everybody does.
Yeah.
It's too much for them, but it's like we are just
What
very
is too
enthusiastic.
much? What is too much?
Yeah, but we are the too much people that people think, oh, there she is again, or they like too open, too like sensitive, and too emotional.
I would even say, why even compare? I mean, your way, my way, her way. Let's celebrate the diversity, right?
Yeah, that is like that's what we're doing here. So other people, we will celebrate your diversity also when you
join us. So we can.
I invited people on a messenger on a Facebook that I hardly know. So like I don't know what they're gonna say, but like by seeing what they're sharing already online, I know what kind of consciousness they have and that they have like a
Exactly. You have one thing in common. We're all humans, so we're all from the same tribe in that sense.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing here. We're uniting Soul Tribe. So the more the merrier. Just know that you're welcome. And yeah, we had a lot, and again, a really nice talk. Oh yeah, the last time we forgot to introduce ourselves. We always introduce ourselves at the end. So because like yeah, we just wanna like you feel us and you feel it like our information and then our energy, and then and I just want to tell you, like, I am like Miss Hellbreaker. I call myself because it's my real surname in Dutch. My surname is Hellebrekers. In English, it's Hellbreaker. I'm here to help people free themselves on all levels, emotionally, mentally, physically, energetically, and financially. So wherever I can help you with, you can always PM me. But the main thing I do is like energetic healings with several frequency devices that I love. And you can check my website. It's also misshellbreaker.com. I'm everywhere, Miss Hellbreaker online everywhere. And yeah, I'm a healer and I come from Heal. I come actually from a place called Heal. and I'm a healer, and my
Wow.
mom's a healer. Yeah, it's like every time I tell this, it's like I don't make this shit up. Like,
No, you don't. That's for sure.
it's a nice story, no? Like,
Yes.
it's yeah. So I'm like really grateful for like yeah, this what I can do and what I can be for others, being that conduit of change and being yeah, in any way helpful. Like whatever people can ask me the most crazy questions that would be beneficial for their health. Like, and then sometimes I make videos for that as well as answers. Everybody welcome. And thank you. You can also say a bit about yourself.
I will keep it short like usual. I'm Guillaume. I'm just a small philosopher looking for wisdom, sharing the wisdom. And that's it. If you want to reach out to me, feel free to do so. Janneke will probably put some link into the description. And see you next time.
Yeah, and I really like it how you give different perspectives on a lot of things. And it's interesting also for me how you sometimes view things, react things, and then we talk about it. And it's like, oh, so like you understand it like this. And that
Very
is
good
also
tag team, but in that sense, by lighting it from a different perspective. Yeah, I like it too.
But then you learn, that's where you learn from, like your communication and how it affects other people. Like I don't like so that's interesting. So
I love the way it always turns out to be a dialogue instead of a discussion. I don't think we ever had a discussion here.
No,
So
no.
that's a good example to set for other people.
Yeah, and also when you don't understand what the other person say, you can ask them.
Exactly.
That is open.
It's all open.
Yeah, everything's welcome, and you in your whole being as well. So thank you everybody very much. Thank you everybody for being here, and see you again another time. And if you subscribe to the YouTube, you will see all those talks and my podcasts and the videos and all sorts of things. So do that as well. So bye bye.